Welcome to a fine gaming experience, everyone. Bricks here with my usual co-host.
Hey, Ice back for another round. One of my favorites, but unfortunately I didn't get there fast enough to see the dung beetle rolling about.
But now we're going to be showing off how the heavy bowgun can just ace another creature.
I have so many problems with this, I don't know where to start.
Maybe with the head bouncing into my shoulder pads.
that set is not meant to have the arms back like that. Unfortunately, a lot of the animations get a little clippy and weird. They are stuff that was added, I'd say, as an afterthought, but they are more for the fun of the character than they are for any actual gameplay phenomenon. Your armor looks good in a fight. Doesn't look so good when you're trying to pose.
And we've seen the basic form of today's creature, but we're going to be taking on Mega Karen.
Yes, Black Diablos is somewhat of an interesting enemy because, much like we've dealt with Rathian and Rathalos, and there's been similarities between those, Black Diablos and Diablos are almost the same creature except for one specific ecological difference.
She's in heat.
Spoiler, but absolutely. And unfortunately, that makes Black Diablos a little more aggressive. And it's not even really that the patterns are any different. It's that there's a little extra hit or two on all of Black Diablos' moves. So when you're used to using a shield or dodge rolling out of the way of one attack, you now have to dodge your way out of two or several.
As well here, this is our first time showing off an investigation. And as you might have seen there, this is a 2 silver, 1 gold reward. Each tier can get you different prizes you normally get off the creature.
And the nice thing about the gold tier is it can actually get you prizes that require certain breaks, like you have to break horns or break the face. You don't actually have to do that to get those rewards. That was such a good snipe.
Broke so much right off the bat.
Still got both horns, but I think he might have popped off a wingtip or something.
It's hard to tell at this distance. Investigations as well, though, might affect a couple other things. You might get more money from it. You might have a very low time limit. You might have limited amount of partners that can join you, or even how many deaths you can take.
Yeah, a lot of the harder ones you have to watch out for, because you'll see something like, oh, okay, it's only 2 players. Well, we play with 2 players, that's fine. Oh, but this one has only 1 death on it and a 15-minute time limit. And if you are not overpowered, or at least very prepared to take on a monster, don't even bother with the short time limit ones.
As we found to our dismay more than once. Now, physically based monsters like Diablos here will only have straight up attacks for the most part. So having a shield like this can really just, I want to say, chump them outright if you time stuff right. Unlike that.
It can, and another thing that's very important, this is not Brix's first rodeo, especially with this weapon. I believe heavy bowgun is one of your favorite preferred methods of ranged exploitation. So you know how to use that shield. You know when to block and when not to be firing your gun.
When not to fire is actually the hardest thing to learn. That's actually one of the benefits to the other form of the heavy bowguns I'm not showing, where you can just DACA away like mad.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nice to just be able to stop really quickly instead of, I'm going to lay down and line up my snipe here.
Wyvern Snipe is the far more powerful ability, but as you can see right there, if you get a bad one, that only did maybe 100 damage total.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, there goes that horn.
Must have been a wing I clipped at the start. Right there, I'm being very careful with when I reload.
And that is extremely important. You're going to get used to the specific gun that you use. They're all going to have different reloading times on different ammos. So Almost as much as Hunting Horn, I find that the bow guns, especially the heavy bow guns, you need to learn each one. Each individual bow gun is going to differ because you do not want to get hit. Something we may not have covered, if you're using ranged weapons, you actually take less damage from like explosions and like big AoE abilities, and like elemental damage in general just does less to you. However, you take a lot more damage from regular physical attacks. You actually have less defense than anybody who's using a melee weapon. So you have to watch out. If you take a big gore to the face, you'll feel it.
Yeah, all the ranged weapons give you a elemental defense boost. All the melee weapons give you a physical defense boost.
And it's significant. It's like a 20% or 30% boost. So, and it's just pre-built into the weapon. It's not something that you're going to see talked about outside of, I believe there's a weapon tutorial stuff in your menus you may find it talked about in. Oh man, 2 blocks with that, you still took that much damage. If your shield was a little higher level, or you had some guard up, that would have done less, but Diablos is going to hurt you even with a good shield.
Yeah, this guard build is pretty high up there. I'm only a tick or 2, I think, from max on it.
Wow.
But yeah, Diablos, right there. You saw how much just getting clipped twice from blocking can do.
And something that a lot of people don't notice about the weapon, the dodges are actually really, really good. That was just a straight up miss, wasn't it?
Unfortunately, I think I ended up clipping just the tip of that sand there.
I've been getting back into bow as we've been playing Iceborne, and I have shot so many dragon piercers into just the top of the snow pile. And I'm like, all right, if I just fired an arrow that can go from tip of the horns to the tip of the tail of a monster made out of materials harder than actual iron, why can't I pierce a snow pile? Oh, those tracks.
Yes. We're seeing special Elder Dragon Prince, as was mentioned in one of the previous quests, and that's a little, like, cat paw almost, so...
You're going to find those in every single area. I know what monster that is. Actually, probably my favorite Elder. Well, I really like the design of 2 of the Elders, but I really like the personality of one.
Bringing Screaming Pods against Black Diablos there, as you see, can be really handy. Locking her down for even a short time so you can line up a shot or just recover even can be handy.
That glancing blow that you took right there is just disgusting. You can't just roll out of the way. Watch. Do you see how he lunged? She lunged to one side and then lunged back the other direction. That's what makes her such a deadly, deadly enemy to fight, is that she's got these multi-directional attacks that do so much damage.
And she has more than one attack when she's coming out of the sand like this. She can prepare just a long leap there. If you see her taking a little bit there, like she just did right at that moment, before she leapt out of the sand, you could see the movement stop. She's preparing a long leap forward that will probably hit you multiple times if you're blocking.
It's almost better to dodge roll through her at that point. Oh. Now, sleep ammo, one of the best ammo types in the game, is going to get quite a lot of use here.
And I'm going to be very mean. I could just wake her up with, an aggressive shot like the Wyvern, but let's pair it up with something extra boomy.
And again, for those of you who are new to the entire sleep mechanic, every bit of damage that is taken at the same time is doubled while a monster is asleep. And the horns just took massive blast damage, and then a second Wyvern shot to the head. Oh. Now, you're being mean here.
Yeah, I like to use that opportunity to get off a second Wyvern shot if I can, because it just does so much damage, especially if you're close enough for it to actually... Oh. Unfortunately, these two do not turf war, which is a little surprising. Black Diablos turf wars with a lot of things, but not Mudman.
So I'm going to almost totally be terrible at the next time we play Monster Hunter World, because I've been playing the Rise demo.
Oh.
Those of you who played it, it's quite fun, but they've done some things. They've changed a lot of abilities out for some of the new mechanics they've got. But I definitely say Monster Hunter World has informed a lot of the direction that Monster Hunter is going in the future.
We'll see probably more of that in someone else's LP.
Oh, I guarantee there'll be tons of people trying it out. Now that attack right there, you can actually mount with that. It's hard to do, and it doesn't do a ton of damage, but the nice thing about it is it doesn't use ammo.
If anything, you can also quick reload while you're doing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was the purpose there. I was trying to mount Diablos. The heavy bowgun has a pretty neat mounted attack, but we'll get to see more of it later on, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the tail hit you twice there, but the Vitality Mantle combined with your shield is actually a really great combination.
Very much so. Even if you can throw on a couple recovery boosts or stuff like that, that'll help you heal up from the tick damage. It's so handy. That's what I have on this build a little bit, and you can see I've already recovered from that shielding.
There's actually a mechanic that'll come into play quite late in the game. We're quite a ways away from it, but I'm going to mention it now. It's called augmenting, where you can change some of the properties of a certain weapon that you've got. And one of the things you can actually get in augmenting is the ability to heal off damage you do. Weapons like the lance or other shielded weapons benefit so much from that, because all you do is take little tick damage, so as long as you're hitting something, it's almost like you're at full hit points all the time.
That really is the best augment for so many weapons, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's hard, unless you're a perfect player and you're just going for speed runs, because if you're going for speed runs, you're not taking damage, and if you do, it's probably for the express purpose to get yourself in a better position to deal more. Oh, even that tail club does so much damage. Yeah, this is not an easy fight. I again reiterate, choice of weapon is important here, but 2 mistakes in a row, you're going to die.
Yep. Each hit there you saw was taking off so much of my health, and if I'm stunned, if I'm at the wrong place, the wrong time, or reloading when I shouldn't be, that's it. Even right there, Diablos would normally just charge. She will take a moment or two to make sure she's gonna fuck you up.
She postures a lot.
Yeah. You might notice too, sometimes I'll fire a sticky ammo or one of my slicing shots here at her tail as she's going into the ground. I do that because it gives me a very good chance of hitting just the tail with my attack instead of the leg or something else dumb. As well as the damage won't kick in until she comes back up. So sometimes when she's doing that multi-hit rise out of the ground, you might be lucky and actually get saved by it.
Yeah, those explosions can actually knock even a big monster around if they're timed right and their KO damage is high enough. I will say, some monsters, it's really easy to go for the tail. Like, it just be the way they fight, they give you a lot of opportunities. Some weapons also help that too, but it's... Oh, there we go. There's that aerial mount we were talking about.
But as I'm whittling her down with my fancy knife, Grimalkins decide to help me out, which I shouldn't complain about, but I really wanted to show off that mount attack.
Oh, that's fine. I'm sure you'll be able to show something else off.
So many booms.
Oh, I didn't think that hit that many times, but man, did it ever.
That's the difference. This one is definitely higher damage, but the other form of the heavy bowgun will definitely give you more consistent damage.
We've all been in that position where you're trying to fire a shot and the monster's taking up your whole screen.
Against creatures like this, too, you might actually want to have the other form, just because laying down can make you very vulnerable. The original last boss is one I would probably prefer to have the DACA form.
Yeah. At some point, hopefully we'll rotate back around and be able to show off the, I believe it's called Wyvern Heart is the secondary.
And sometime soon, we're probably going to have to show off multiplayer as well.
Yeah. If you if we want to try randos, we can try randos. So just the two of us, we could do that. But unfortunately, I don't have any multiplayer characters that are around that level. So anybody I show up with, I'm gonna have to under gear so they don't just stomp the content, which I can do.
Just put on an old weapon, you'll be fine. That's the interesting thing with old armor, is that it kind of gets obsolete quick.
It does.
Almost consider selling it. It's not like some MMOs or stuff like that where let's do like a level 10 mission.
It has a ceiling, so the way armor spheres work is they allow you to upgrade a piece of gear to a certain point, but it'll never be as good as a piece of gear you can get from monsters in that rank. So if you just started fighting specific monsters and you make armor of their parts, you're going to automatically see an increase in your defense over any of your other stuff, even maxed out. I love that little hop backer into the trap there.
I just misplaced the trap, so I was hoping I could have a chance to get the tail, and no.
And now investigations, they still follow a lot of the normal rules. If you end up capturing an investigation monster, like Brix just did right there, you haven't got an arena for them, it'll set up a new arena so you can fight them. I don't actually think we've mentioned that. Maybe we have in an earlier episode. But anytime you capture a monster, you actually get a second attempt at it in one of the staged arenas, which comes with rock traps and a dragon piercer and all sorts of other great stuff. You can see the rewards there. The dash extract, the black spiral horns, those are special rewards. So if you look above in the bonus rewards, you can see more black spiral horns, but he got an extra drop purely from doing this quest, and even if he didn't break a single horn, he still would have likely got that reward. Essentially just rolls on a chart and goes, let's give him a horn. So yeah, running investigations is great when you're trying to find those rare pieces from specific monsters.
Or if you really want to get like a full set, all 5 pieces of armor or such, it's really handy just to build up inventory. And we were talking about this armor set last time, and damn is it one of my favorite lookings.
It's a really cool set, and this is actually based off Universal Studios Japan. It's, I believe it's tied to either a ride or like a little story they've got going on there. But it also comes with a very, very cool longsword. It's an awesome set. And the skills are decent. I think the thing that's really cool about them is if you get the event that provides these skills, these are things that you wouldn't be able to get this early in the game. Critical Element, Mind's Eye and Ballistics, Handicraft is not something you can get early on. Handicraft is really, really nice if you get a weapon that just cleared a tier. So you're early in the game, you've got yourself a green weapon, and you just got your first blue. The little bit of blue you get on there will last like maybe 10 attacks. Handicraft will stretch that out for maybe 20 or 30 attacks, and that's just a straight damage boost without needing to sharpen.
As well as being one of the Rathalos sets there, you can mix and match to get the full set bonus if you really want.
Which is really great if you're trying to get specific armor boosts, because the Rathalos sets, I believe, has an almost completely different spread of defenses. The Blossom sets are interesting.
Speaking of completely different, I like the male form's almost mirrored appearance to it. This one has a very steampunky take on it.
And it's another gathering set. The Quick Sheath's not bad. It's actually a decent ability. Paralysis resistance is... There's just so few enemies that do that. It's, I will honestly say it's probably one of the worst sets in the game as far as stats are concerned. But one of the great things it has is huge thunder defense, which is cool. And the other cool thing, I believe, is you're able to eventually get a... there's a version that you can do with layered armor later on. So if you like the look of something, but you don't like the stats, you can stick that on top.
The skull armor set here is an interesting piece. You just get it from finding the rare drop from a bone pile in the Elder Recess.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too fancy, but it does have a 2-slot gem and really good defense early on.
And I've mentioned Handicraft again. That's not a low-level skill. That's something you only find on later armor. The Diablos set has got some really cool stuff on it, though. It actually looks pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of that green, especially with that brown. It just looks really, I don't know. Ugh. That looks great, though. That kind of rust metal combined with the like yellow and orange pieces.
You should really get, like, an attack bonus when you're shoulder charging with your greatsword.
I don't know. I've shoulder charged. I've done it once in my lifetime, but there is a boss you fight later on that has a nasty, almost always one-hit KO charge. I charged it, broke its horns, and knocked it out of the air. I think your shoulder's plenty strong.
Speaking of plenty strong, this set has some really, really good skills on it.
General Resistance isn't so hot, but Heroics is fun. Marathon Runner, Crit Draw. Crit Draw is actually an excellent skill for any longsword or greatsword users. Greatsword users are going to put your sword back on your back at any time you can, and longsword users, you just do it naturally throughout doing combos.
And Slugger, as you've seen from some of our Iceborne gaming,
Slugger can knock things out.
It can just keep them on the ground sometimes. If you're really good at hitting things in the head, just upping that knockout damage can be insane sometimes.
Let me tell a short story about the last time we played. There was a monster we were fighting, which I believe Brix ended up grappling to the ground. I was almost knocked it down, and I think I hit it with a headshot with my bow and knocked it out. And then he fell off and went directly into a head combo and knocked it out, I think, twice. Like, he knocked it over once and then knocked it completely out the second time. It spent maybe 40 seconds just splatted on the ground. So yeah, KO damage is real.
I thought you were going to tell the story of when we dizzied a monster, got it paralyzed, and then knocked it out. It just spent like a good 30 seconds sitting there.
That's what it was. Fair warning for this set, keep an eye on the water and ice resistance on it. They do not equal the dragon and fire resistance you get. However, defensively, it's actually got a crazy high defense score. It's a pretty potent set. It's just, its elemental defense is just it's awful.
And there's not that much that uses ice early on, really.
And water is almost only used by like one or two monsters.
And we didn't mention it with the last set. It's got the same set bonus on this one, but Bludgeoner will just increase your damage as you lose sharpness, which is a weird trade-off, but non-elemental boost. If you're using a weapon that doesn't have a poison trait or a elemental trait on it, you can get a huge attack boost off that.
And that counts weapons that have a hidden element on them, like they might have poison if you had unlocked the poison element. As long as you don't unlock it, those count as non-elemental weapons.
And normal shots on that too can be really powerful. Any of those skills you get up to rank 2, you will see a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Now, I believe the increase to rank 2 is only something that came about in Iceborne. I think that's fairly new. But I think that was increased across the board even if you didn't buy the DLC. A lot of changes did happen kind of quietly, but Iceborne does add a ton more mechanics to everything.
It's a really good set, though, and if you didn't notice, on my main character there, I had a couple pieces. It's very handy for a lot of different builds.
It's just that cat head freaking me out.
What's wrong with my cat head?
It's the size of it against it. I don't know.
I'll just flop on these explosive toads then.
Back where you started.
Yep. But next time, it's either Devil Ho or Nergigante. Either one a big, scary challenge.
You're going to die.
Very possibly.
My prediction is we're going to see, maybe not die, not lose, but you're definitely going to take at least one cart out of that mission.
I'm glad you have faith in me.
All right, plenty.
Well, for everyone else, I hope you join me next time, and take care all.